for the legal requirements for fostering, I mean, over here, it says that animal belongs to SPCA, right? So...
Yes, when you're fostering, it belongs to SPCA until you adopt it. But it will still be considered an SPCA animal.
Right.
So it will, if you need to bring it in for sterilization, we will help you do the sterilization.
So it belongs to SPCA and... Okay.
Yeah, okay, so it's not necessarily, it's not our pet, it's their pet, or fostering is our animal. You know, in any situation. But if say they adopt that foster kitten or they adopt a dog from SPCA, the animal's below 6 months, needs to be sterilized.
Right.
They can come into the SPCA to sterilize their pet.
Because I'm just before that, I'm just wondering on the legal requirements for fostering, because obviously AVA requires, when you have a dog at home, you need to be registered with them.
Oh, that one you don't need to register.
If it's for fostering, and then would there be any issues with AVA? So basically, it's registered with SPCA, right? It belongs to SPCA, so there's no issues with that if AVA comes on board. Okay. Then the other question is that, so I'm not sure, but in that sense, does AVA come in to help you guys such that you know, HDB, they have a limit of only one puppy or one dog in an HDB flat. So fosterers, would they be allowed to take in more than that, just puppies, to foster?
We don't encourage it because just because of the space requirements. I mean, I'm not saying that there's tons of huge HDB flats now, but because we always encourage the puppy or kitten to be kept in a room away from a lot of noise and just too much stress. So we keep them away. And HDBs, I understand, don't have a lot of rooms, and so sometimes we keep them in the bathroom. You know, it really depends on the place. But if another animal is involved, you can't really control where the animal is going. So so we don't really encourage having too many. If you already have a pet of your own, we don't encourage it. Like I mentioned, it can also cause distress for both animals. It can also cause maybe if one of them is sick, then the other one can catch it.
But AVA, do they help you guys out in that sense?
We monitor it ourselves.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing. Like fostering puppies and kittens, there's a very high chance that they may pass away because of the lack of immune system, the lack of immune system basically. So, you know, if they do pass away, we actually tell our fosterers, you know, be aware that this may happen.
Do you guys take any action when that happens?
We can't really do anything about it because they're so vulnerable and so young. So it's a very common thing actually. One of the last group of kittens that I fostered, one of them passed away. A lot of the time you can tell, I think, when they drink milk, you either use a syringe or you use a baby bottle. When you use a baby bottle, when they latch on, if you've done it before, they'll just, and then they don't let go until they finish.
Right.
But if they're quite weak, or they're more of the runty side of the litter, then they won't latch on sometimes. And that's a very sure sign that there's nothing that's wrong with them. It's just that their likelihood of surviving is much, much lower than the others. And one of our kittens passed away, so it's quite bad.
So what's the average duration of fostering? I think it's 1 to 3 months, is it?
About it depends, but 1.5 months to about 3 months, yeah.
Okay, usually you can't really go longer than that as well, right?
You can. It really depends on the animal. If it's still getting sick all the time, then if you can keep it in your home, that's always.
Because I'm just wondering, AVA requires licensing for all the animals. So if you go longer than that, you have to kind of properly adopt it in a sense, right?
Yeah, but that's until because they're considered SPCA volunteers, so they're under the bracket of SPCA.
Right.
So when they bring them home, they're still licensed under SPCA. Right. So unless they are adopted, then that person has to be individually licensed. Okay. So that's a little bit different.
Okay, and then the next question is, so with regards to you were mentioning there's around 100 fosterers, but regarding to statistics, would it be possible to know when was this fostering program first started and how did it change over the years?
Fostering program, when did it start? In 1992.
It's quite long.
Let me check. I have a long time. I haven't checked that one. Fostering program.
I mean, this is just a very hypothetical kind of a research. So obviously, like you mentioned, it's a double-edged sword. But I'm just like researching, hey, so in this area, what's being done right now? What's the statistics and things like that?
Unfortunately, with statistics, I don't have a ton of statistics for you because it changes all the time. And we've got statistics on our annual report.
Yeah, I've read that actually.
Oh, you read that already?
So that basically in the annual report, it's really good because it shows the number of animals that's taken by you guys every year, the number of animals that are euthanized. So one of the key benefits is that because of fostering, it helps reduce the number of animals that needs to be euthanized.
Yeah,
So
because a lot
that's
of the time when we bring in, especially the very, very young ones, and we don't have the resources to take care of them because it needs, so if we don't get volunteers, they're maybe less than a week old, they need much more attention, and the likelihood of them dying is so high, it skyrockets, and so we, as much as we try to take care of them, the staff, our rotations are not the same.
Right.
And so sometimes we feed, don't feed, and not sure what's going on, and then we're already constrained in terms of our manpower. So in that sense, it's actually really, really hard to take care of babies. Sometimes 13 of them come in at one time, or 20 come in at one time, and then they're so adorable and they're so sweet, but how are you going to take care of all these babies, and there was a case recently, actually last year, I think, one of our staff took care of, I think, four kittens, and she bring them back and forth, but because of her job, she also took care of the other animals as well, and she's taking care of these kittens every 4 hours. They didn't get enough milk, and so there was 6 of them in one litter, and 2 of them went to another home, and then 4 of them went to her. The size difference in this woman's kittens and our staff's kittens was significantly different.
So one obviously had more.
One of them was like a super kitten, and the other one was very small. It looked like she was only a few months, not even a month old. It looked like it was a few weeks. It was so thin, very small. So it depends. It depends on and it's what you feed them as well, and it's how much you feed them. And of course they can survive, but it's the likelihood of them not growing properly is very high.
So those 100 fosterers, like, where do they come from?
They're all volunteers. They come. They meet us. They are they are the ones who approach us first.
Because you were telling me like you prefer like the way you guys frame it such that you have a lot of time and stuff like that, right? The way you guys frame it.
They have a lot of time.
Yeah. So you prefer people who are kind of unemployed. So
that's a nice way of putting it. It's like usually a lot of the people who do help us foster are like homemakers.
And
People who are freelance workers, so they don't need to go into office. They can stay at home to do their work. And then and who are probably waiting to go into army.
people who have a lot of time at home.
So like kind of like.
But what's the challenge in reaching out to these people? Like, because you know very specifically that you need people who have the attributes of having a lot of time at home. But how do you reach out to them?
We actually, the way that we reach out is by doing community outreach programs, and we also do. Cause I'm an education officer, so I go out to schools. I go to corporate companies, and so. When I do talks there, I do mention and I do emphasize the fact that we really need fosterers. And so usually, they're people working, but they have family members at home who do have a lot of time on hand, who need a project to do something, and then sometimes if I'm out at night, meet my friends, and they're like complaining about how their grandma does nothing at home, maybe she can foster one of the kittens.
So it's face to face, kind of. I mean, I'm just wondering, like, so for fostering it's more face to face, whereas for adoption you guys have like print ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, but that one we always do as well. So it's not just fostering that we advocate, but also when we do adoption, we do ask for people to adopt instead of buying. I think that's the most important thing. We always we do that in school talks too. So we implement that idea of adopting instead of buying when they're children. So it's kind of like propaganda. I mean, kind of stick it in their brain, that this is.
So you're reaching out to children, little children.
Children first, so the young people first, and then later on with corporate companies.
So one question I have is like, so obviously it's good and you guys need to reach out to little children because you need to have a good impression of them, need to tell them when they're young what's the right thing to do. But at the same time, when it comes to adoption and fostering, I guess the legal requirement is above 18 years of age. Is that correct?
But
also for adoption.
Exactly. That one is
so
legally they're allowed to adopt, but they have to, for us, when they adopt from us, they have to come with their parents.
must agree.
But if you're 21, and above, and you live alone, then you can come.
So if you're below 18 years of age, you're just a kid, but your parents are okay with it?
Yeah.
So it's
because
registered.
people tend to, I think in Singapore especially, when you're 18 you stay with your parents. But over 21 usually kind of go and live by yourself.
But how do you guys reach out? Because I read that you guys have sponsors from like different companies, from MediaCom and things like that. Do they give you like free airtime or radio time for
usually sometimes on radio they do sponsor us. We also do encourage we have video ads. Usually ad companies, advertising agencies come and
they help
us. Yeah, they want to do us. Yeah, because we also have I don't know if you've gone to the movies recently at Cathay, but we've actually got an ad up there called "Do You See the Doggy at the Shelter?" and it plays before the movie starts, and we've had this tie-up with Cathay for about a year already, and so we've started playing this song to encourage people to adopt. So it was very nice of the ad agency first of all to make the video and the song for us, and it's also really awesome that Cathay has allowed us to play the video and given us the licensing to do
So you guys have like all these great companies to help you guys out to play commercials, even in theaters and things like that.
Yes.
And, okay.